Hi guys. So today I'm just going to do a quick little 5-10 minute video of some hip openers that you can do while seated. And these are just going to be able to help with general hip mobility, help with relieving tension in the low back, and just, overall range of motion. So as always, we can do our easy seat, even just our Sukhasana. This easy seat can be hard for some people. So even just coming here, a lot of us do this thing where we put our hips forward and then bring our shoulders in. And this is really bad for our low back. So even just bringing our hips behind our shoulders, crossing our ankles, even if our hips are tight on the outside, but even just having our hips behind our shoulders here and hinging forward is going to relieve some tension in our low back. So if you ever find yourself sitting like this, it's really, really bad for that lower spine there. So just lift your booty, hips behind shoulders always. So we can also come to our regular butterfly or Baddha Konasana that a lot of you will be familiar with. And trying to stay on time for once, guys. So we're gonna have our Baddha Konasana here, which is our bound angle, feet touching. There's a couple ways that we can do this. This is really good for the adductors and opening at the hip, but like I always say, if you're tight all around, you're gonna feel it in more than just the area that it's supposed to work. So again, all yoga poses, multidimensional, several different benefits from each, and that's why it's so great. Because while you're strengthening one muscle, you're stretching the other. All of our muscles work together. There's always the main muscle providing the action. There's always the antagonist providing the opposite action. So the best thing about yoga is while you're stretching the hamstrings, you're strengthening the quads and vice versa. But yeah, so this will help with our general hip flexibility here. Also help us get into the low back. But same thing, we don't want to be sitting in our Baddha Konasana like this. Because look at, I mean, I know I'm wearing a big shirt today, but look at my back here. I want to be lifting like this, and you'll feel so much better in your low back. So that's one of the biggest things I think I would tell people, even if you're sitting in a chair all day, try to make sure that your hips are not in front of your shoulders. Unless you're deliberately doing some kind of therapeutic motions, sitting like this can be really detrimental, especially if we're hunching over stuff all day. So if you can, scoot your booty behind your shoulders, inhale, lift and lengthen. You'll feel that you have to use your muscles more, which is good because we don't want to be just posting on our joints. So when we lift here, we engage the lower back muscles. So we're strengthening these supporting muscles. We're engaging our abdominals. So this is giving us a whole better all-around situation. So we have our Baddha Konasana. We can inhale, lift and lengthen, exhale, hinge at the hips. That's one option here. I personally, from when I hurt my back, I straight up cartoon style slipped in a kitchen, fell, hurt my back, could barely, I'm super flexible. I've done yoga for years. I could not fold over. I could not bend over to pick something up without being in horrible pain. So this is what saved me here. So in our butterfly, we have our feet in close to our sacrum. We have acute angles at our knees and obtuse angles with our feet and our hips. So this is a big kind of it's like a stretched out diamond shape, like the little diamond on top of Sims heads where it's pointy, it's thin. So we have this shape here, but we're going to transition into an actual diamond shape and make all of the angles on all of these points equal. So this is going to get a bit more into the low back, a bit more into the hamstrings. And again, real quick, just to check yourself, scoot your booty back. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hinge at the hips, fold here. You can wiggle it out here too. I love this. This is no joke what saved my back. Because I couldn't even roll. I couldn't teach jiu-jitsu. Couldn't do anything. And I'm quite a mobile person, so this really screwed me up here because I fell straight here. I really messed up my sciatic nerve, hurt my piriformis. This side of my low back was just impossible. So just doing this, inhaling, lifting, and lengthening, coming down really helped. And it's okay if all you can come is here, but you should really feel this shooting down your low back here into your butt, into your gluteus maximus, gluteus medius, all these fun parts, and all of the stabilizing muscles underneath these thick superficial muscles. So these are a lot of these, like I said, the piriformis is in there. So that's a big one. That's your sciatic nerve is going either in front, behind, or in through the piriformis. And so the tension in that can cause a lot of pain. So this is really good for that whole area. Just breathe wherever you are. And if you're super comfy here, you can even bring your arms under your legs. The goal here is to get your chin to your heels. And if you ever You know, if you're like totally flexible, totally fine, no back issues. If you want to be able to throw your leg behind your head one day, this is how you get there. Because you're also working on these, I call it the side butt, these muscles on the side of the hip. So we're breathing here. Inhale up. Good. And again, I always like to reset real quick with a Baddha Konasana. Another one of my absolute favorite hip openers is our pigeon pose. And there's several different variations of pigeon. So we're going to do a quick seated pigeon, and I'm going to show you a couple other options with it too. So we're going to start with our right knee bent, foot flat on the floor. We're going to bend our left knee, hug it in, take our left ankle, take the outside of the left ankle and put it in front of the knee here. So if you're super tight, this may be a lot already. So you can go ahead and walk your foot out and even put it flat if you need to. This is still going to be a stretch for some people. You can just gradually begin to bring it closer. If you want to get really deep into it, bring the foot right next to the booty and it'll be really nice and deep in that hip. So this is your pigeon, your seated pigeon. You can come down into reclined pigeon if you'd like. Come down here, there's this option. You can reach through. There's a few different options here. And again, we're not going to spend too much time in these poses because this is more so me just explaining it. So this is just to really help open the low back. Or you can also sit like this at your desk at work. If you're sitting in a chair, you know, a lot of people will sit with their legs crossed, but if you sit like this, deliberately sit, pull your hips back, lift and lengthen, get into this pose while seated. You can do it at a desk chair, you can do it at most chairs. You should be able to do this one. My absolute favorite variation of pigeon is our double pigeon. So this one is going to be quite intense, so take it slow. Walk our right heel over to be underneath our left knee. So we're breathing here. And if you're like, this is super easy, you're more than likely not actually on your knee and your ankle here. So you really want to make sure that this left knee is really almost on the outer edge. Sorry, left ankle is on the outer edge of the right knee. And then our left knee is straight on top of this right ankle. And you're really going to feel it in that left side butt. This again is getting into the gluteus medius, into the piriformis, really opening up those super tight areas that we don't normally stretch. So this can be difficult for some people. A lot of people will be right here, and that's fine. That's normal. I've worked a long time to get here, and this is still, I wouldn't say painful, but it's still uncomfortable. So yoga things should never be painful, but they can be uncomfortable. Again, it's kind of like when you do a workout. You don't want to be working out so bad you throw up, but you want to give yourself a little bit of a push. So same thing with yoga. So we're here. This is our double pigeon or fire log. Breathe here. And if this is too much, again, slide the feet out a little bit or slide the feet in. You can also take this bottom foot and dial it in. This can be your like intensity gauge because this feels a lot better. When you come here, that's when it gets intense. If you want to get even further into this, you can hinge at the hips, fold forward, and this gets really deep in there. I will sit like this for like 5 minutes at a time when I'm like doing stuff, watching TV, watching a video. I do this constantly. This gets really into the hips. If you do jiu-jitsu, this is fantastic for just general mobility with guard retention, with rubber guard, with triangles, with anything really. So breathe here. And then we're going to transition into one last option on this side. So this is a little bit of a sequence that you can piece together on this side, but we're going to do both sides real quick just to make sure everything's even. So if we're here, we're going to go ahead and see if we can draw our left knee over top of our right knee. So this is Gomukhasana, the legs part of this pose. So this may be really hard for some people, and that's okay. And this gets even deeper into this motion here. So it's interesting because we're adducting a bit, but we're also externally rotating. So it's taking this point of the body in the back and stretching the muscle in a way that we don't normally see because we're also flexing at the hip. So there's several things going on right now to get this motion and get this stretch here. So breathe wherever you are. If you can hinge here. And again, this can get really intense for some people, especially if you have super tight hips. If this is too much, stick with this guy for a while. All right. Each of these, can be taken in transitions. You don't need to do all of these at once. You can work your way up. So breathe. And we're just going to real quick, if you're doing this along with me, real quick, go along to the other side. So this time we're going to left leg stay straight. Right foot comes in, stacks on top of the left knee. So breathe here. Again, you can fold even just in this guy here. There's so many options with this pigeon pose. Take whatever feels best for you. Again, you can lie down on your back supine. You can come here. You can walk the foot closer to the booty. Whatever feels best. Again, I love / really freaking hate double pigeon. Like this is like that good hurt, like that deep tissue massage kind of hurt. I love it. I hate it. but I really, really love it. So breathe here. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, hinge at the hips. Again, as always, you want to make sure that those hips are behind the shoulders. Good. Breathe here. Wherever you are. And again, if you're doing this at home, this is more of an explanatory video. So take your time with these, pause it, and sit in these for a few minutes if you'd like. Again, we can take this right knee, draw it over the left, come into our Gomukhasana legs. Breathe and hinge. And again, this one's deep. This one gets really deep in there. I should probably do this one more. Good. Breathe in and out through the nose. Come back up. Quick pigeon pose. Sorry, quick Baddha Konasana reset. And you probably heard that. My hips crack every single time. So again, we have several different options here. These are all hip openers that will help with lower back tension as well. And I think one of the most important things too is just be mindful of your posture. Again, honestly, I kind of just slouched there myself. So it's just, you know, the more you think about it, the more you practice it, the more you're going to remember to check in with yourself. You know, a lot of yoga is just straight up body awareness. It's just bringing awareness to different parts of your body, noticing how you feel, noticing things that you normally wouldn't notice. So being more in tune with yourself through your practice, you'll be sitting at your desk like this and you'll be like, oh shoot, let me fix my posture. You know, so this is just a good habit to start to get into. And again, number one thing I tell people is if you're sitting, like even if you're like sitting on the couch or sitting on the ground, if you're dumping into your back like this is gonna suck. Look at where my butt is. You know, it's hard to sit like this. If I just do this, I have so much more support, so much more stability, so much more ability to use my muscles to help stabilize myself without straining. You know, we don't want to shorten these muscles. A lot of the problems with low back pain comes from really, really tight and weak lower body muscles. A lot of the muscles around our hips and around our glutes are tight and weak, and that's what causes this low back pain because they're just squished and compressed, but they're not very strong. So a lot of these motions lengthen and strengthen these muscles to give us more mobility, to give us more protection, and not cause so much tension. Okay, so there can be good tension and bad tension. The low back tension from tight muscles and weak muscles is bad tension. So these are things that you can work on, little kind of things to help you with any low back pain while seated. Again, you think of how often we sit. We sit in our car. A lot of us sit at desk jobs, you know. Be mindful of how you're sitting. Like one of the things with postures is, you know, things can be beneficial in different ways, but if you sit in any posture for too long, it becomes a bad one. And we habitually come into this really bad seated posture. So again, maybe take these with you, be a bit more mindful, use these to open up your hips, help relieve some tension in your low back. And I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you.